welcome to the Man of the Law podcast. I'm here with Brad Barnes. He's the owner of Midland BJJ in West Texas. So, welcome to the show, sir.
Nice to see you, Bubba. It's
Yeah,
been a
good.
minute. Like
Yeah,
you
good to
said,
see you again. And it's the second time on the Man of the Law podcast. So welcome back. So we're catching up on some stuff we haven't talked about in a while. We got more police jiu-jitsu. We got Invictus coming up, and I know a lot of stuff going on at your school too. So what's kind of the day-to-day of Mr. Barnes? What's your usual day like?
man, it's been getting up in the morning and going and doing like a pre-physical therapy workout, then going to physical therapy, then trying to like rest, ice, whatever, and then go teach classes, and then just rinse and repeat that every single day.
Yeah,
I
because I know
had
you had major surgery, but I've still seen you on the mats too. So like, how's that recovery going?
It's good. Some things are a lot slower than I would hope for. I was
Yeah.
expecting maybe to be able to like my brain can't process. Like if I can move like this, why can't I move like this?
Right, right.
If I can bend and push this way, why can't I do it on this side? So
Hmm.
it's just getting through that part. But having a total knee replacement is a cool maybe learning tool is what I'm using it for right now
Right.
because when people come in, they go, "Man, I would train, I would do it, but I hurt my knee playing football, in high school." It's like,
Hmm.
well, you're 30. It's been a minute. You haven't died yet. Yet you could still walk. You're still,
That's true.
you're playing pickleball. You'll be fine.
Right.
So it's a good thing for me to be able to look at someone like, I get it. This is how we rehab. This is how we learn how to roll intelligently. So I pick our partners.
Yeah.
It's helping out.
Yeah. And like, you could get hurt in jiu-jitsu, but you could also get hurt, crossing the street and anything could happen. So it's yeah, it's I wouldn't stay away from it just, because injuries happen. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know more guys that have like, oh man, I'm hurt, I can't come in. Like, oh, what happened? Tell me what was your circumstance? And I'm thinking, man, I wasn't watching the rounds right, or I always kind of blame myself if someone gets hurt. It's my fault. I should be in charge of the safety of training. And they go, oh, I fell off my boat when I was trying to get it on
Right.
the trailer. I was playing pickup game of basketball, the layup, my shoulder popped out. All that stuff is way more common, than the catastrophic jiu-jitsu injuries. It tends to
Yeah.
just be, how it is. It's shoulder, knee, neck over time.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, most of my injuries usually are, due to my age, not the jujitsu itself. And, thousands and thousands of people train jujitsu every day, every night. And, there's the injuries are minimal. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a guy, I had a guy he's like a personal trainer. He's already come and gone. He's already put in this stuff and quit. He's a personal trainer and wants to teach people how to get really strong and really fit.
Hmm.
He literally one night he goes, man, that choke we were doing that really hurt my neck. It wasn't a choke, it was a front headlock. Just doing front headlock series, fighting for Darce Anaconda, just chaining.
Hmm.
And he tells me the next day, man, I had to go get a neck CT because I was worried I permanently injured myself. And I'm like, there was 12-year-old girls in that class.
Yeah.
There's a 60-year-old blind guy in that class.
Right.
Come on, bro. And then he's tagging me in this stuff like, hey, we advertise my personal training. I was like, you're not the kind of strong we want, bro. That's not what you're not marketing the stuff anybody here wants.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. True. Yeah. And yeah, you're going to be a little sore from training, and that's just the way it is. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk Midland BJJ a little bit.
Yeah.
Your academy's growing down there. I've been following you. So I'm just gonna ask some questions about Midland. So kind of what separates, Midland BJJ from some of the other academies out there?
You know, with Midland Jiu Jitsu, like as a whole, it all started with me and three other guys, and we had like it was more of an MMA type of background there. We were all watching the UFC VHSs
Mm-hmm.
and Pride on the satellite dish, and so we were doing that. And there was a lot of jujitsu going on, but it was just everything. And I think as gyms came together and broke apart and came together and broke apart. I think as that happened, it just really kind of showed there's people that are just going the route of like competition jujitsu, formal, put the gi on, let's bow to our sensei, let's bow to a picture of, Elio Gracie or whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're going to learn 5 techniques and then we're going to go roll. That's cool. We're just different because we have that old school MMA type of mentality with it, not the meathead side of it, but just like, hey, we have to spend a lot of time getting gritty. We have to spend time failing. We need to do things where we're not spending 30 minutes warming up with shrimping and jumping jacks and push-ups and sit-ups. Go do that stuff at 5 in the morning.
Right.
Go do that stuff. Come early, stay late. Go get that stuff in. You need that stuff. You have to have that stuff to get good at jujitsu, as far as like your body's ability to bulletproof itself, be functional, have cardio. But if you only have an hour, that 4% of your day, and you're trying to get good at jujitsu, and you spend a quarter of it, a third of it, whatever, you're spending half of that time just doing calisthenics, then what are we doing here? So
Right.
that's really where we come in a little different. Is we say the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, guys, classroom up. We're starting with these connections. I want you guys to play with pushing, pulling, dragging, snapping, move,
Right.
and then they're warm up. And then, all right, so here's the dilemmas. Here's the things you guys notice. So I feel like it's more kind of in line with the way that um, kind of the no-gi sport MMA side of jiu-jitsu has gone.
Right.
Just not as formal. That's I've done it. It's cool. It's awesome. It's great
Yeah.
for people who need that really, really formal structure.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can get that by just being respectful to each other and training hard.
Sure. And I think you could definitely, warm up for jujitsu by practicing jujitsu. Yeah, absolutely. You could have
It's
those drills
a good
and the
idea.
fundamentals. Yeah, exactly. Right. You don't have to do basic calisthenics. You could actually do, functional drills that are, tied to whatever you're teaching that day too. And whether it's arm drags or taking the back or, whatever you're doing to get there. So, but you're getting right into the meat of it. And I kind of agree with that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely get good at shrimping by practicing shrimping, but can't you get way better at it if you actually have a body at least next to you where you feel, oh, this is why I'm pushing this way. This is why my hip has to exit the floor. I have to get above the floor. I can't just
Right.
eh, you know. So
Yeah.
it's just better. I like doing that stuff, and I don't. Here's the thing though, where you say like, where are we separate from other people? What's different? I don't know because I don't watch anybody else's Instagram pages, Facebooks.
Yeah.
I don't look at it. I
Okay.
do that on purpose because if I'm promoting a women's self defense class, I want it to be because I'm putting on the women's self defense clinic for the community, not
Right.
because I'm trying to keep up with someone else that did it and go, oh, I can do that better. I
Right.
just want to do my own thing. I don't want to be influenced by what the trend is for someone else. Now, if I see a cool trend on Instagram,
Hmm.
like from somewhere else, from one of my buddies' gyms, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I just want to make it where everything that we're getting from at least this one gym is going to be authentic and in its own little universe.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you also have a lot of experience. You have your MMA experience, you police jujitsu, plus you're, a high level black belt. So, I mean, you can kind of tailor it to, kind of how you want, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean, and that's the goal, right? If you have a gym, is not to sit there and try to like, well, let's just make the same copy of everything else.
right, right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think, for me, I'm still kind of learning how to coach and teach. So I do kind of steal a lot of stuff from other people. I look and see what they're doing and be like, maybe I'll take that and, add that. I always give people credit for it, but it's, I'm still kind of learning how to kind of put a good class together, make everybody feel comfortable. And, I've been doing it for a few years now, and I think I'm getting much better at it. But I always, I'm always open to taking advice and learning new things, so, but yeah, so no, that's good.
Yeah,
And
it's not, and doing it like that though is cool because like you said, you're taking from other people. I mean,
Mhm.
every time I go to town, even being like owning a gym, teaching at a gym, being all those different things you mentioned, like that's cool. I still go and do open mats when I'm out of town at other gyms or pop
Yeah,
into a class, and just to kind of see like it's just a good way to like just a check. I'm just doing a check
yeah,
engine. But seeing like, how are these guys running the class? How is their command presence? Are they getting frustrated by telling someone put your right hand here and they're putting their left hand here? Are they
yes.
getting frustrated by that too?
Hmm.
I think it's just a good, easy way for us to check in instead of living in our echo chamber where we're always doing, oh, I just taught a good class. Everyone said it was the best class. So I
Right.
like doing that. And then also noticing that nobody is reinventing the wheel. No one's
No,
showing anything that's insanely
no.
revolutionary that I've never seen before. So it's good.
Yeah, and you just got to kind of find your style, like, I still watch like old videos from like the early 1900s and they're doing judo and self-defense techniques. I was like, this stuff isn't new. This has been around a long, long time. Leg locks aren't new,
Man,
and all this stuff. It's new to me. It's new to other people because they're just finding it and putting their stamp on it and all that stuff. But this stuff, yeah, it's been around for a long, long time. But how do you feel like your police experience and your MMA experience, and also I know you worked at like the bars and places in Odessa, and you've
yeah,
dealt with some actual street
the strip
violence.
clubs,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
all of it. Yeah,
And
yeah, for
and
sure.
because people always say, how do you relate to the real world? And you've done it in the real world, and you've had that experience. So how do you think that kind of your experience kind of reflects in kind of your teaching style, and how do you bring that to your students?
I think one thing that I do really good, number one, is I don't have to speak from a hypothetical when it comes to violence.
Yeah,
Because I mean, most instructors like they go, "Oh, I've been in so many fights, or I've done all these fights." You're like, okay, a jujitsu match is of course grueling. You can get injured, you can injure somebody else. You're definitely dealing with fight or flight or whatever.
but that's the key word though, match. It's not a
Yeah, it's a
fight. Yeah,
match.
right.
It's a
It's a
match.
match. It's a
Yeah,
match.
like
Yeah.
I've been in fights with people that are,
Hmm.
anywhere from like just passively, hey, I just don't want this to be happening to me right now, to people trying to separate me from consciousness or worse. I've been
Right.
stabbed a couple times. That's really cool. I've been run over in the parking lot by people, like
Gosh.
like hey, I'm gonna wait for him till he gets off, and I get off and
Right.
I'm walking and they hit me with a car. So like
It's crazy.
I've been in those types of things. So I think whenever I teach people stuff, I'm not speaking from a hypothetical or a voice of ignorance or not being sure. I can
Yeah.
give them, hey, when this happens, this is probably what you're going to experience. I can only tell you from my own experience from me, and then anecdotally from other people that I've been around that have done the same things.
Yeah.
Um, so that's important. And another aspect is that I think is really important for coaches to be able to do is articulate something. And that being a cop is literally
Mm.
what you have to do anytime you're putting hands on people.
Yes.
Really, when you're just talking to people, you're making a report for a civil issue that like gets a little bit out of hand. You're like, hey, I need to make some call notes on this, and
Yeah.
you're articulating what's going on. I think that's something where you see reels of people doing self-defense. They're talking about, yeah, and then you elbow smash them in the back of the head, and then you twist their neck, and then you choke them out, and then you do this. Okay, then what? And then what do you say to the police afterwards? And then what are
Right.
you going to say in court? And then what are some questions are going to be asked of you, you
Right.
know? And being able to say things like, through my training and experience, that line is amazing.
Yeah.
And then to have training to back it up, and then say, oh, what's my curriculum? Well, the curriculum is based on, yeah, there's sport jiu-jitsu. We're gonna, but she didn't berimbolo when she was defending herself.
Hmm.
She got a collar tie through an elbow, kneed the body, grabbed a single leg, dumped him. That's being able to articulate why you feel like you're in danger, things you can observe about being in a confrontation with people, learning how to kind of piece that together. Whether my students know I'm making them do that or not, when I say, hey, what are things people do to us here?
Right.
So what would we be looking for? Why would I want that? Doing that with them is something I don't think they realize is important, but when the day chooses them, it's
Yes.
really important, not just the skill side, but like, why did this take place?
Right, exactly. No, I agree with that. And being able to articulate is, yeah, very important. And I teach fundamental jujitsu to just regular civilians too. And I tell them like I would do this on the street if this were me. This is what I also teach police officers, and I teach them the same thing. And they're like, okay. So I'm like, if I trust this going out there and it's been vetted by other police officers and it's in a good curriculum, and
Yeah.
then I'm comfortable with it too. So then I'm comfortable showing it, to my students too. And I usually try and give them the reason, why is this better, And if you did because a lot of self-defense in jiu-jitsu, yeah, they show a good takedown, but then they go to an arm bar, and I'm like, I really don't want to show
Yeah.
that to my
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
It's great self-defense stuff, but if you do a hip toss, why don't you just arm lock them or get knee on belly, control the inside arm? So I just show it usually a little different. Yeah, if you do a great hip toss, fantastic. Somebody untrained might not, be able to defend that. But after you do a hip toss, why would I want to fall on my back on the concrete and get somebody in an arm bar? I want to stay on top. So either I'm going to arm lock if I still have the arm, or I'm just going to stay up top, shin across the belt line, control that inside arm, watch what's going on around me. And I tell my students, this is what I would do on the street, and this is how I teach other police officers. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do it that way then. So they're having that little bit of experience in being able to tell students that too. It definitely makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. It's not sexy, it's not
No,
like, hey, you do this
yeah,
and
the
then
armbar
you
looks totally
yeah,
cool, but then what? Somebody's gonna stomp
yeah.
on your face on the ground. And
Well,
maybe it could work, but I'd rather not do it, right?
I don't know how many times I've seen people. It's definitely more than I can count on two hands with as long as I've been doing this. I've seen people get their arms broken and still fight.
Sure. Yeah.
So what? We're gonna lay back, break the arm, and now this person's gonna stand up, and they're
Yeah.
gonna hammer fist us with the other, or with that one, just hit us with that,
Right.
that
Or
meat
produce a
sock.
weapon with the under one and anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's very I feel like maybe that's an aspect of instruction that some jujitsu coaches, MMA coaches, whatever, that maybe they don't look at. I mean, perfect example would be like traditional martial arts. Obviously, not all karate, taekwondo, kung fu, whatever. Not obviously there's redeemable qualities, and it's not all bad. And
Hmm.
you can successfully defend yourself if you execute the techniques correctly against the right people, just like anything. However, those people, are they lying to their students a little bit? Are they being a little disingenuous, saying horse stance, roof block, and self defense?
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
And so in jujitsu, we're lying when we're saying like, oh, and then just pull the guard. You just
Right.
pull them into your guard. No, no, man. Like I need to get
Hmm.
up.
Right.
If I'm pulling in
Exactly.
my guard, things have gone really bad, and I need to sweep. I need to, you
Right.
know. Oh, then my friend, you just hold here, and they cannot move. Like, man, I'm strong. I'm good at jujitsu, and I still get white belts that walk in and start, and I'm like, all right, I have to do something different. This
Yeah.
jujitsu is not working, so now I got to wrestle.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And that kind of leads me to my next question. I mean, I don't want you to talk about other places, but like in general or how you teach at your school, do you think sport jujitsu has, maybe kind of drifted a little further away or the way jujitsu is now than from the actual, self-defense and kind of how it started?
I I don't know. I kind of go on both sides of that. Like I feel
Yeah.
like if you're just doing the gi, man, there's the worm and there's the mashed potato and the hootsie tootsie or whatever. There's all kinds of things you can do, and that's great. But you go no gi, those things still exist in their little universe, like with the way people are doing leg entanglements and getting themselves into 411 and
Yeah.
backstepping into these spots and
Hmm.
bowling. That's all there. However, if you look at the top of the top, the guys that are consistently winning, they are doing basic self-defense.
Yes.
They're doing, they're hand fighting to a body lock, hand fighting to head control,
Right.
hand fighting into working themselves to get to a single leg or whatever. Then when they're getting on top, they're breaking down frames and pinning,
Hmm.
and then they're isolating arms, and then so it's become very systematic. I mean, you see people. It's not just a new wave thing. It's everybody. All the people that are doing a good job and winning at a high percentage are doing that, and then the ones that
Right.
are winning with non-fundamentals like gimmicky kind of stuff or stuff that's really out there. They are also outliers physically.
Right. True. Yeah.
So I think sport jiu-jitsu is awesome. I think self-defense jiu-jitsu is awesome. I think what's cool right now is we basically need to say like, you know, MMA is just like Matt Larson says, it's America's folk style wrestling now. Like that
Hmm.
grapple jiu-jitsu, wrestle jitsu. That's what everybody's using that works, and we know
Yeah.
it works. We can pass it on immediately to a white belt and make them better than when we were blue belts 20 years ago. So
Right. And I think, maybe when you started and then definitely when I started, I think there was a lot more of a separation. When I came in 2011, UFC was already getting pretty big.
oh
But
yeah,
I think, you were early MMA, the early days when guys were
2000.
still figuring it out. And even,
Yeah.
all of MMA itself was still kind of very new and you were kind of at that ground level of it where it was coming up. But now mixed martial arts just itself as a training style is kind of taking the best aspects from everything wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing and created it, and it really is one of the best systems you can have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. At the end of the day, I think I think there's a lot of karate schools, taekwondo schools, things like that that've gotten on board too. That start like MMA and jiu-jitsu programs in their gym,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. I think everybody should jump on board and realize that this is a necessary part of development for self-defense. Is you have to learn how to grapple. But I
Mhm.
think jiu-jitsu people have to be aware and learn. If they're not already, they're not paying attention to the top guys. That
Yeah.
also jiu-jitsu is not a standalone functional system by itself. They need
Yes.
to also branch out. And if you were going to say, hey, we're teaching self-defense in jiu-jitsu, then every time you show a crucifix, you should also be showing, hey, we could hammer fist from right here.
Right.
It's just the same as every time you show a leg lock, you say, hey, they can hammer fist from there on me.
Yeah.
So just little things like that, I think that just become a responsibility, and other people just look as that's not my thing. I'm not going to teach. I'm not going to talk about it. But
Mhm.
I think we as jujitsu guys, we have to look at we're held to the same standard that if we started 26 years ago, that we
Mhm.
started holding the karate and taekwondo guys to is like, hey man, that's not right. You can't teach people that that's the only way because no fight I've ever seen or been in has ended with someone doing like a wheel kick in a parking lot.
Right. Right.
It's
Exactly.
always been that there's no question mark kick we're landing on people in a fight, knocking them out,
Right.
unless it's just serendipity. The universe said this is going to happen
Right.
tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. Like one wild thing just happens to happen. Right. Exactly. And maybe
Yeah.
the guy's like super drunk and doesn't know what's happening either. Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
fun to watch when you see those kind of
Yeah. You
videos, but
see
at the
some
same
random stuff
time,
sometimes and you're like, holy cow. Right.
but that to me, that just fuels the tappy tappy guys.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And there's a ton of that out there. So you can check out McDojo. He's got great stuff. I love following his
Sure
stuff. And some
does.
of it's like, oh my gosh, like why is people are paying for this stuff too? And paying like a couple $100 a month. I'm like, oh my goodness. So
That blows my mind.
yeah.
I did a video, a couple of series of videos for the gym talking about, common myths from self-defense. One of them
Mhm.
is that jujitsu is awesome for self-defense. Like, yeah, it's not by itself. And the one of
Right.
them was the teaching women like the palm strike to the nose.
Mhm.
Every woman has said to me, well, my dad, uncle, brother, cousin was a Marine, and he said
Yeah.
that you'll break
Mhm.
the nose off in their brain and they'll die. It's like,
Mhm.
man, I haven't seen that
Right.
in 26 years. So,
Yeah.
of fighting and 46 of me watching it on TV. So I
Yeah.
think you're wrong.
Well, yeah, most of them, the women in my family too, and even my wife, like, oh, I'll just put my key in my hand. I was like, that's not gonna
Blow your
work.
hand up.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, right. It's not gonna work, and it maybe might annoy them a little bit, but that's not gonna, that's still like how they were like, well, if you put your key, it'll protect yourself if it's in your hand. And I was like, that's gonna do nothing. So yeah,
But that is because you have to hold people to a standard that are teaching that. You have to be vocal about it and say, hey man, that's not
that's
gonna
not a
work.
thing. Yeah, exactly right.
Problem is like you do that nowadays and that's just giving them attention, which is maybe what they want.
Right.
Maybe when they know, nah, I'm not doing it right, but I got attention at least. Or
Mhm.
the other side of it is you're looked at like an asshole
Right.
for just like I'm just trying to tell the truth. I'm not saying come to me. I'm saying don't go to him.
Right, exactly right. Yeah, that's true. And so what can you expect like as a new student? What are do you still have your Friday class, the Thunderdome?
Oh yeah, we
That's still
still have like
going?
all rounds Friday at lunch. Did that today.
Nice. And you have no
We've got
gi still, and then
yep,
you have some MMA classes also, right?
MMA classes. We have wrestling class. Our wrestling classes with we've got a USA Wrestling certified referee and coach. So he's been doing it since he was a kid. Wrestled in college.
That's
His name is
awesome.
Jet Gomez. His two daughters do jiu-jitsu with us in our kids program. With Jet is a guy named Brinson Prince, and he wrestled. He's from Georgia, wrestled in college through it like as a college intramural team, but he wrestled in high school to high level, black belt in jiu-jitsu. We got
Nice.
another guy that he's from he went to college in Chicago area in Illinois,
Oh, really?
and
Okay.
he played football and wrestled.
Nice.
So we've got a good little contingency of guys that are in here, and then when we get transplants from the Rio Grande Valley or Amarillo or the Metroplex, typically we get some wrestlers in there. So we really push that part of our curriculum a lot. That helps our MMA, helps our jiu-jitsu guys, and
Yeah.
then we've of course got our weapon-based entanglement class for sure. That's always like a must. I wish there was more people in it. You
Yeah.
and I have already talked about that,
Yes,
but
yes.
um, that stuff's important. That stuff's important, and I think more. What would my hope would be is that I would have black belts from other gyms or people that coach other gyms coming and doing that one, so that when someone inevitably, because I've never seen a student in a martial arts gym not ask a question about a weapon.
Right.
And then you got somebody that doesn't carry one, that's never carried one, that's never had to pull one and have one aimed at somebody that to go like, oh, you would just do this.
Right.
You just do the Kimura. You do that, man, come on,
Yeah. And
you
especially
know?
if you're if you're a concealed carry holder now, I think you kind of have an obligation too to do some training and train, how you're going to draw, where you're going to carry, and and deal with some weapon entanglements because it's part of it. Why are you going to draw your gun? Probably because there's another weapon involved too. So yeah, you definitely got to
Yeah,
know that. Yeah.
I mean, no one is gaining any skills from the range when it comes to. They're obviously gaining skills. They're not gaining any skills that give them context to why
Right.
they're trying to shoot fast and shoot accurate
Right.
until they have somebody that's in their space and have to draw that gun under stress and realize like, oh, I'm doing appendix carry and I can't find my gun because my shirt's in the way.
Right. And you
So there's
don't
an
practice
actual,
that
I
draw,
have to
and you
actually
don't
do things.
practice. Right.
Yeah,
And
like
you, yeah.
one hand high,
Mhm.
roll over the holster, return, things like that.
Right.
Um,
That make a
do
big
I
difference.
go do I go magwell to my rib cage? Do I go thumb pectoral index? Do I
Hmm.
go low ready and start punching out? All those things
Yeah.
are problems that you need to solve in training, and if you don't do that, then how can you as a martial arts instructor help somebody out with those questions?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Responsibly. You can absolutely give an opinion,
Right.
but that opinion is not tested and tried.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. So let's talk some police jiu-jitsu stuff. Just in general, like I'm probably going to ask you some questions that we both know the answer to, but I do get a lot of officers that are that have never trained before and really don't kind of understand the combatives universe and the jiu-jitsu universe. So they do have a lot of questions on kind of what it is and what it's about and why we need to do it. And I'm always kind of preaching it from the mountaintops to all the officers I run into, but why is grappling in itself such an important, skill for officers to have, police officers?
Grappling is an important skill because it is the only thing that you can do 7 days a week, multiple times a day, where you are putting yourself in positions of control to manage another person's movement against people that are skilled and knowledgeable on how to stop you from doing that.
Hmm.
So if you can do it in a training room against people that are better than you, and you can make that work on a consistent basis, then when you get Tommy Crackhead
Hmm.
or Jimmy Meth Head over trying to do some stuff to you, it's not as big of a deal. You
Right.
don't have to freak out. You don't have to be forced to make a decision that maybe you can't live with because you come from a different generation. I would never do. Okay, well, cool. Well, now you had to,
Right.
or maybe you're having to hit somebody more times and looks good on camera. And now you're getting indicted. I mean, everybody, all courts and all admins support officers during all use of forces. Correct?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly.
So
Right.
it is just so terribly important, and unfortunately, you already know the next part that people just won't do it. I don't know how many officers I've seen that might hey, just come in one time, just come in and try it. They come in and they realize they can't physically handle a teenager,
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
a
Yeah.
trained not a professional MMA fighter outlier, Juan Rosas, UFC
Mhm.
fighter, not that 19-year-old, like a 16-year-old band nerd.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
why can't you control that guy without having to drop 15 elbows on him,
Right.
or having
And
to
I've
pull
had
your
it.
gun out?
Yeah. I've had it happen with my students too. I've had two younger police officers, and they came in and had have like a three-stripe white belt. She's real tough and probably almost at a blue belt by now. But she mopped the floor with both of these police officers. These are 25-year-old police officers, fresh out
Tale
of
as
the
old as time.
academy. Yeah, fresh out of the academy, and they could do nothing, nothing, absolutely nothing. And that's just the way it is. And it's like, if you're the one expected, people are going to be calling you for help. So, this should be a wake up call for you.
Yeah, I mean it's it ranges all different types, and I think some officers have started doing this thing where they hide behind what their job description is for their department on their shift as like another layer of defense as to why I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
You know, there's court officers,
Hmm.
municipal court officers. A lady, municipal court officer, came in to train. She came in one time. She was shown that she was completely ineffective at any physical skills. With a couple of them weren't even that like experienced, maybe like 2 months in, female teenager,
Hmm.
and then like a blue belt that weighs 108 pounds,
Yeah.
that has competed a couple times, like mixed results, but tough and good blue belt. And she just ragged like, and she was like, "Here, do this," trying to help her out. She's like,
Right.
"Yeah, obviously I need this." And then next thing you know, when it's time to come back, "Yeah, I'll be back." Never comes back.
Yeah.
Sheriff's deputy female
Hmm.
can't fight a female that she is outweighing by like 50 pounds. Can't overpower this person. A sheriff's deputy who's 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds, that's coming in there and just like getting physically ill because he can't handle the cardio of being involved in a just continual physical action with somebody. And
Right.
these just, the list goes on and on and on. It's everybody. And I think in their minds, like, well, I haven't had to use it. We hear this all the time. I haven't had to use it yet. Why would I need it?
Right.
These people in here, I'm bringing myself to a fight. I'm not going to a fight out there. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you're literally going to a disturbance. You literally have people that are violent offenders walking into your room if you're a courthouse officer.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you
Right.
work at the hospital, you literally have the crazy meth heads that we're all worried about fighting
Yeah.
in your presence, but you
Yeah.
don't want to train because,
And I think, officers play the odds. It's like nothing's happened and nothing has happened in a long time.
yeah,
But, if, you're not ready for when the time comes, it is what it is. You're going to have to deal with it. Yeah. So,
there's got to be, they're just, and it's all the same stuff. There has to be people at the front that they're going to say, hey, you know what, we need this. I'll do it. And it's going to have to be some really out of shape, looking like a bag of milk chief of whatever division. Like, hey, chief of patrol, you know what? Oh man, I'll just go do the class and learn how to hand fight and keep my gun
mhm.
safe. If that guy does that, next thing you know, you got a bunch of dudes that, hey man, Chief's 108 years old.
Yeah. And he's
He
doing
hasn't been on
this.
the street in
Yes.
30 years, and he's
Yeah.
doing something.
Right.
Like the Texas had a DPS chief of patrol, David Crane. That dude, like I've got the biggest man crush on him from a police jiu-jitsu standpoint,
Yeah.
because
Right. Right.
that guy was leading from the charge.
Yes.
He was leading the charge from the front. He was going and doing jiu-jitsu classes. He
Hmm.
wrestled a little bit, like he wrestled in high school and stuff. Like he was going out and working out. He's in great shape. He he
Yeah.
he filled out his uniform. Didn't look like crap. He didn't look like he was ineffective physically. He was able to back it up. He
Yeah.
wanted to go work. He was like going out to the border and like getting in foot pursuits with people. I mean, that's the standard. That's what we want.
Yes.
And then those
Yeah.
guys are like, all right, well, I've got my years and I got to retire. I can't keep staying here to do this.
Yeah.
And they have to go at some point. And then who replaces them? Just another one of the same guys. So it's just
Right.
another back step.
Yeah, and I think admin is coming around to it, and it's getting more mainstream now. There's, it started here in Chicago too, so they brought in effective fitness combatives. It's not
Mm-hmm.
fully 100%, there yet, but it's a start, and I still think it's kind of early days. I think everybody should be training, and it should be in the academy right away, but it's a process. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I tell people to come in, but a lot of times I just say, just look at my Instagram page. Like
Yeah.
I just try to lead by example. Like I'm 50 years old, I'm training 4 nights a week and, just look at what I do. And if I'm doing it, why can't you do it, and do it at a higher level then because you're 30 years old,
Yeah.
so I just try and do that and just lead by example. And like we were talking earlier too, when these officers kind of come in and get, humbled. Usually I pull them aside at the end and say, "Hey, this is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
This should let you know that this works, and you shouldn't feel bad about this. You should come back tomorrow and say, 'Hey, I want to train more.'" And
I,
yeah, so
I
it's
told
not
my
yeah,
students, I told my students once, I got a really good blue belt that he's kind of like my head uke whenever I can have him. He's got a mixed
sure.
schedule, but um, I was telling him, I was like, Dylan, I said, I understand why when we get like this female cop that's not in very good shape, that's bigger than you or whatever. I understand why you, as the smaller guy, but know a little more. I understand why you're helping her through. I understand why you're going with this cop and hey, grab here. Hey, oh yeah, and giving up a spot. I understand why you're doing that so you can encourage them, but here's the problem is those people already think they don't need this. And
Hmm.
so then when you give a position to them or you give up a reversal or whatever, all you're doing for them is them at the end of that class to go, man, this was a lot of work and exhausting for me to do something I can obviously already do. I didn't have a
Right.
problem with that guy. And those people out there don't train, and this guy does. So I
Yes.
did pretty good for this guy to only be able to do this to me. So they've all worked this out in their head. The problem is then you start to doing like you gave those, yeah, okay, cool. So now when you roll with people, your job is not to do that. Your
Hmm.
job is not also to tap them 37 times. The goal
Right.
is to be sure that when you go with them, you get into dominant positions and constantly control them and put pressure and move and stay where you're dominating. Like when they get done, they don't need to go, that guy's a badass and he was picking on me, or that guy sucked and I'm doing pretty good. They need to go, man, the jiu-jitsu works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grappling works. That's
Hmm.
all they need to say. That should be their entire thing. Grappling obviously works because I couldn't do anything. So if you're one of those guys that can make someone not do anything, you don't be a bully and tap them 38 times and turn into a
Hmm.
sport match and they go, this guy's just doing MMA and I don't even do that. I'm just trying to do self-defense.
Right.
No, you show them this works.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that too, because even in class, like when I'm, just a student taking class and my professor, Andre Terencio, he's always like, submit from there, submit, you got it, and I'm like, I don't want to. I want to get to another position and still smother. I just want to
Yeah.
smother you and control you for that 5 rounds if I can, because that's kind of how I think about like what I would need to do on the street. I just need to keep
Yeah.
bettering my position, keep control, keep bettering my position, keep control. And so I have like a little different mentality, even though it's sport jujitsu, but I kind of have my own little style of how I roll and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bit different. And I do like even when I go with, new students, yes, you have to let them work a little bit. You just don't want to destroy them.
Yeah.
But you also have to, make them work and get them into some of those deep waters too and not go too easy on them either to let them realize like, oh, okay, this is kind of what I need to do
Yeah.
here. And there is other levels to this. Yeah. So I definitely agree with that. Yeah. There's definitely in between you kind of got to find. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's good for all students because then you're
Yeah.
getting the guys because what we got guys that they quit because they are some badass in high school at whatever pickleball or whatever their thing is, and
Yeah.
then they start doing this. They're like, oh, I suck. It's like, yeah, but all I did was hold positions on. You can learn how to do that, but if you're just spamming omoplatas
Yeah.
to rear naked choke to toe hold or whatever, like you're just doing that on people over and over. They're just like, I obviously
Yeah,
can't.
this is way too much. And yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So yeah, you got to kind of find the in between. You don't want to, but usually it's usually on the other person and their ego takes that shot because it's not on us. We're like, yeah, we know you're no good. Like we want you to keep coming back. Those are, those are what students are for. And it's usually the other person that kind of takes that hit and their ego can't take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Unfortunate, but
yeah.
it people are weird, man. It's I don't remember what it's like to be a new student that was ever scared of doing this or intimidated by it or frustrated from the standpoint of like I'm just going to quit, like it's too hard. I've never been that student, so I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to have like my coach hates me and I'm not good doing and nothing I do is good enough. I can help out with that one.
Right, right.
Um, but I don't get the man. I suck at this. I should never do it again. There needs to be a time when I go, hey, I'm obviously never going to be able to do this at a level that is to this point. Like if I'm trying to make it to ADCC,
Yeah.
I think by now at 45, I've figured out it's not going to happen.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Right.
But do I need to quit jujitsu? No, because I'm
No.
pretty good. I enjoy it. So like
Yeah.
if people will just find something about it that they can enjoy, like a redeemable quality, like I don't know, fitness, mental health, community, building physical skills, mobility, functional strength, like blah, 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 blah. If they could just find one thing,
Right.
I'm sure we could find one,
Right.
then all of a sudden it's fun and I can say, hey, the juice is worth the squeeze on this because I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think most officers I think are, kind of buying into it more now. I usually have better luck with younger officers. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
way it is now. The kind of the under 35 crew that's, a couple years on, 4 or 5 years on. Maybe you've had 3 or 4 use of force experiences that went okay, but could have went better, and maybe gave them a little scare. You know what I mean? And they're kind of like, yeah, maybe I should check this jujitsu stuff out. Yeah. So,
The
and
how are you with guys?
guys that are in their 50s and 60s are like still giving me the karate stuff. Like, oh, you do the
Yeah, yeah.
jujitsu, and I'm like, yeah, I do the jujitsu. Yeah, right. That's yeah.
Yeah. No, what are you doing with guys like how nervous do you get when you invite somebody or have them come in like, dude, it's gonna be so fun, and then they get hurt and it's not even your fault. It's because they are such a spaz and they're
Yes.
so freaked out.
Yes.
That kills my soul. It hurts me
I
so
know.
bad because I'm
Yes.
like, bro, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're taking it upon yourself to do this.
Hmm.
And then at the end of class, you're like, what the fuck?
I know.
What
Yeah.
why were you so like frantic? And then you realize like I just basically have to distill it down in my head of like, you know what? At least they got hurt here in the gym and then they can go and do physical therapy. They get themselves back set
Right.
up and they didn't hurt themselves fighting in the street and they can live another day. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that part is okay, but that's so frustrating when you're trying to get people to come in and say it's safe to train because it is.
It is. Yeah. And
But
then they
some
get injured.
students
Yeah.
make it
Right.
unsafe.
They do. They do. Yeah. And yeah, you got to be real careful because, and I've had, one younger officer, and but he was just a super spaz, and I had to like kind of pull him off and be like, yeah, just take a break for right now. Like you got to take a
Yeah.
break because either you're gonna get hurt or somebody else is gonna get hurt because you're on like 100, and we're not on 100 here, right? So
I I try to tell him I was like,
like they can't
this
disconnect from like the street mentality of like, oh, I gotta save my life to like,
right,
yeah,
right. Like I'm in danger. Yeah.
right, like yes,
Which
I'm
but
yeah,
again, like
yeah,
that should show them like, hey man, you should have been able to be more relaxed because there's a room of 30 other people in here that were chilling. They were
yes,
laughing and having a good
exactly.
time and making
Hmm.
jokes and talking shit.
Right.
You know,
And he's in fight or
where are
flight,
we?
and yeah, right, exactly.
So, but I do this thing, Jason Reps,
Hmm.
BJJ cop, my homie.
Yeah.
He's recovering. He had a little meniscus thing done, so he's on the return coming from the men for knee
Recover,
injuries
yeah.
too.
Oh, that sucks,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he's got an afternoon class back a couple years ago, and it's Donahur's teaching. So Gary Tonon's in there, Taza, Big Dan, all these people are in there.
That's
Tom
awesome.
Hardy stopped in, because Tom Hardy's in town to train with John and comes and
That's
just does the
awesome,
class
yeah.
or whatever. And then there's like guy that works at the pizza shop and guy that's a gas station attendant
Right.
and
Just your
guy that
average
goes to
Joe,
school at
yeah.
UT.
Hmm.
And they, and when you'd go to those classes, John would say like, hey, you guys can be intense if you know how to control your tempo. You can roll hard if you know
Hmm.
how to control your tempo. Your tempo should be where your next round, someone's going to walk up to you, and it could be Tom Hardy,
Yeah.
it could be Gordon Ryan. He wasn't going to walk up to anybody, but I
Right,
mean, like,
right.
but it could be like some ADC competitor, or it could be somebody that is a nurse at UT Medical Center, and they got to be up on their feet all day next day. None of those people can get hurt.
Right. Yeah,
The
absolutely. Yeah.
cop that's training with you can't get hurt. So
Hmm.
you guys have to control the tempo. And the problem is maybe some people put all of the onus on that on their partner
Hmm.
and don't realize that a lot of that belongs to themselves. Like I have to be able to slow myself down or know that I'm going too fast, know I'm freaking out, but also have the ability to tell my partner and not be an asshole and say, hey man, can we go a little lighter?
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be a jerk, but hey, I'm not doing this with you right now. I'm not trying to fight you. I'm just trying to drill. And they're like,
Right.
oh, my
Yeah.
bad. So like,
Yeah.
advocate for yourself. If your whole thing is I don't want to get hurt, cool, then you have to be your number one savior on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Because most students get it, but there are like a few outliers. And like I've had people, come up to me after class and just say, hey, if I could just not train with that person, is that
Cool.
okay? And I'm like, fantastic. I'm glad you told me that because I didn't know. I thought you maybe like training with them, but absolutely tell me that. Because, there are some that just, they don't know how to kind of regulate that. Most
Yeah.
people do, but there's always one or two that they only know 100 and 100's their level. And you really either have to remove people from training with them or just be careful about who you put with them. And other people
Yeah.
are like, yeah, I want to go with him. Let's go. And you're like, okay, take the corner over there and you guys do whatever, like, but be careful. Just stay away from us. And some people, as long as you guys are good with it, that's fine. Right. So yeah, it's part of keeping your students safe but how that relates with, police officers too. It's staying calm under pressure, learning how
Man,
to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions, all those things that come along in a safe environment that you can do, and you're not in critical danger, and it kind of, it just it adjusts your body to that kind of, intense, workout. Yeah.
listen, I just don't know. I don't know why. I say I know why, because it's lack of exposure.
Yeah.
But the other side of me goes, I don't know why a cop whose job is to be around stressful stuff all the time
Yes.
and handle stressful stuff, make decisions under stress, all these things that we burden them with as officers. Um, it's your job to do that, and then we bring you in a room where we're on a padded floor with soccer moms and teenagers and college students and like old retired guys listening to Bob Seger and laughing while we're wrestling. I don't know why to you it's like you're back in GWAT. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I,
And
I
it's
don't
a
know why.
death match. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, they're the enemy combatants everywhere. No, we're fucking playing pajama wrestling, bro. Like, relax.
Right, exactly. But yeah, that all comes with time, and if you don't have that, it could be a definite problem for you on the street. There's no question
Thousand.
about that. Yeah. So, and like, every week there's like a police video, out and, all over the country. So it's a continued problem, but we're still out there trying to, make things better for the police officers. I know you train police officers and have been doing it a long time. And I have, the effective fitness combatives, class every Saturday now. I even changed the time to make it, easier for more officers to come on their days off
Did
and
more
kind
did
of
more come?
it has been, yeah. We've been getting more
Good, good.
more traction, yeah. So
Good.
I'm happy with that, and so it's definitely been good, and as far as like effective fitness combatives, and you teach C4 PJJ, which is very similar. They kind of come together very similar. So we kind of talked about like the importance with police stuff, but
Sure.
what are your, like, when you watch most of this stuff and you see like videos of the viral videos, what do you think the most lacking thing is with police officers? Is it just the basic grappling, or just their basic understanding of controlling another human being?
I think that's kind of like that's kind of saying the same thing a different way.
Yeah, right.
But if I was to say, let's say that's one thing, say
Hmm.
another thing is the ability to transition to tools and away
Yes.
from tools. Two tools away from tools, two strikes away from strikes. So it's that ability to sit there and like, because minute to minute while an altercation is going on, the rules are changing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like what I'm allowed to do when this guy was swinging a shovel at me
Yes.
is very different to when he now doesn't have a shovel in his hand, which is very different to now he's laying on the ground, which is very different to now he's face down on the ground.
Yeah. And that
So all
transition
those
period
things.
can be, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to be able to, and that's why we talk about the being able to make decisions while under stress thing.
Yeah.
Like that's what we see in a lot of these videos is there's officers that are good at hit the takedown, get to a knee right position, control the hands, roll
Yeah.
the guy over, hit him. Now continue rolling him over because he was resisting that and he wouldn't go anywhere else. And so
Right.
you do all that thing, and then you put the guy in handcuffs without having to fumble and bumble and get hit with a handcuff, and
Right.
you do all
Yeah.
these things, or you had your gun and then you holstered correctly, clinched, struck, takedown. Like that's what we're looking for. Instead, it's typically singular focus weapon, singular focus strike, singular
Right.
focus grappling.
And I'm just going to keep doing this thing that I
Yeah.
know, and I can't change it up at all. Right. Exactly right. And no
And
transitions. Yeah.
some of that is our fault for constantly pushing jujitsu so much that then people
Yeah.
go like jujitsu, jujitsu.
Right.
That's the only word that comes out of their mouth. When they
Right.
sneeze, they say os. That's like
Yeah.
everything.
Right.
But you have to be able to say, hey, this is a dynamic environment. So
Hmm.
if I'm in a dynamic environment, but I'm making these very basic, simple decisions, that's great. But if they're not leading to anywhere that finishes this in a
Yeah.
timely manner, in a way that's, in congruence with the law,
Right.
what am I doing?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And the way I described, my class on Saturdays, I say obviously check out their, website and everything else. But
Yeah.
number one, it's combatives, it's police combatives. So, I don't say jujitsu or wrestling or anything else. It's a police combative system, and it's geared for what we do, which is control, handcuffing, transporting, all the things we do in our job that we have to do. And our use of force is on a sliding scale for a reason, at least in
Yeah.
Chicago or Illinois it is. And because it's up here doesn't mean it can't go down here just as quick or vice versa or in the middle. And you have to be able to, like you said, transition through all those aspects of it and do it properly within the law. So yeah, it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important. And then again, that kind of goes with, I think if you're someone that can do that, that means that you have put time in, effort into it. You have an understanding of each one of those things. You
Mhm.
have some type of, whether it's conscious or just or even unconscious competence with a tool, with your hands, with your skills, with grappling. Those people can also, shocker, they can also speak it. They can
Right,
articulate what
exactly.
happened. They can
Yes.
write the report, and they can.
Hmm.
So I think that that's just as far as the mental and physical side of it, I think that's a one hand feeds the other.
Yes.
We watch the other. I think that's helping us out as a reason that training is effective.
Yeah.
It, I really have gotten into a point now where um, I don't know jaded. I think I was jaded. Now I'm just at this like laissez faire kind of like, hey man, you should really do it. I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Yeah.
You have access to the same internet that I have access to.
Right. Yeah.
You see the
And
same videos.
right.
You know how much you train.
Yeah. It's not a secret. Either you're capable or you're not capable. And
Yeah.
if you answer the question, I'm not capable enough, then you need to seek out training. It's
Yeah.
just that simple. It's that simple. And
I
that's kind
have
of how I've gotten to. And other officers, throughout the country that I talk to too, they're like, don't get jaded, stay with it. It's going to be worth it. And I've affected, a small number of officers' lives, and I'm very happy with that. To see officers get their blue belt, I'm like, fantastic. Like I was part of that. I brought that officer in. They kept training. They got their blue belt. They're taking combatives, and even though those numbers are small, but it's important and it's a big deal.
no. I've got a very small handful of police, like local PD guys. I got an even smaller handful of guys that are with some area sheriff's departments.
Hmm.
Quite a few DPS. A couple federal guys.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to see those dudes come in there every single day, put work in, and you see the progression. You're like,
Yes.
I just gave a longtime student of mine, a friend. He was a rookie when I'd already been a cop for a couple of years. He came
Hmm.
on, was a PPO, went to the academy. I taught him in the academy. I gave him his purple belt this week.
That's awesome. Yeah.
His kids do jujitsu. His kids hate jujitsu, but he's like, you're
Yeah.
doing because, and
Right.
he knows literally been around violence his entire life.
Yes. Yeah. And he
Like
understands. Yeah.
gets it. So
Right.
to have a guy like that just trust the process and put the time in.
Yeah.
I've got a canine officer at the police department that comes in almost every single day at lunch. That dude is like 6'2", 260 pounds, got like some lines of abs. You're like, what are you giant freaking action figure?
Yeah.
And he's learning jujitsu and doesn't
Yeah.
care. He goes with smaller guys that beat him. He's like, damn, I got to get better. It's like, dude, I need 100 more of you in one department, and we'll take
Yeah.
this whole place over.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
We
that's
take
how it
over our
is. Yeah.
country.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about so Invictus. There's the
Yeah.
Invictus Lake Tahoe camp. It's going to be my first time. I know you've been involved with them for quite a
Mhm.
while, and so kind of what to expect with the 3-day Invictus coming up June 8th, 9th, and 10th, I believe,
Yep.
and I will be out there for the first time. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, let's talk Invictus a little bit.
But first off, you're gonna have a blast. I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
It's so cool meeting people that people are gonna be like, "You're the guy. You're the podcast guy." You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
cool for you. You're gonna feel
Yeah.
like a little celebrity. So that's gonna
It's
be
awesome.
fun. You're gonna meet so many nice people. I've met dudes that I literally see them once a year, maybe twice a year.
Mhm.
That I talk by
Yeah.
sending offensive jokes to each other
Right. Right.
all day
Right.
long, every
Yeah.
day. and it's the coolest thing in the world, man. It's that
That's
that to
awesome.
me is that to me is the part of police work that is so necessary. The
Yeah.
community part of it.
Hmm.
I'm not part of that community on the ground floor patrol level anymore. I'm like a consultant to the community now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's so cool to be a part of it because I get to see those guys establish long term friendships based on a really positive thing, as opposed to what we usually see in law enforcement, which is long term friendships based on fishing and drinking alcohol, playing Call
Right.
of Duty and drinking alcohol,
Exactly.
drinking
Yeah.
alcohol and drinking alcohol. You know, like
Right.
it's so much better. So Invictus is such a big like beacon for that, to create a community for it. And then when you go, you're just going to have a really good time. And I think it's going to be, every time I've gone to one of those, that essentially has become like a 6 month, 3 month lesson plan for my gym as an instructor, and for things for me to like pick up and see. Like we talk about, you know, you go to gyms and you figure out that's a cool way to do that drill. Like
Yeah. Like, oh, I've
I've
never
learned
seen
so
that
many
before.
things.
That's awesome. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Right.
I've learned so many things from going to those and seeing Rob Mago teach something. You know,
Hmm.
seeing seeing Henry Faber teach something, seeing Clutch go teach something. You know, Kyle McCutcheon. Like all these dudes are bringing, they're bringing all their little secret sauce that they
Yeah.
sprinkle on everything,
Yeah.
and it's cool to be able to take that and like, I'm gonna apply this to my cookbook a little bit. It's a really good time. Um, bring your phone, bring a notepad, take notes.
Yeah.
Uh, be sure that you don't just go with the same guys all the time. You're going to find a good training partner. Cool. Use that guy if you're not feeling good. Like
Hmm.
you're going to be my good training partner. We won't hurt
Right.
each other.
Right. Yeah.
But man, just make as many connections as you can. Anybody that's going to Invictus, this is a really good time for you to reach out. And it might be something that's a really cool friendship for someone that will actually be able to relate to you on something that may be going on, whether it's department, home life, whatever. Or the other side of that, you might find the next department you're going to work for, the next supervisor you're going to work for,
That's
because you're
true.
like, hey,
Yeah.
my department doesn't support officers. This guy is a chief or a lieutenant or whatever at this place, and he's awesome.
Right.
You guys have any openings? Let's go. You know, I know Jerry Hallert from Reno is going to be recruiting as per usual every
Oh
event.
yeah. So he's there. Okay.
They
Okay.
set up a little table and like, hey, you guys
Yeah.
want to come work? It's like, but that's awesome, man.
That
That's
is
awesome.
good. Yeah. No, that's good. And it's a lot of like-minded people, a lot of like-minded
Oh
officers
yeah.
that, believe in kind of the mission of, better training for police, better outcomes for police, healthy lifestyles, and just kind of people that are kind of like-minded. And that kind of leads me to my next question, because, like how would you encourage more officers, who are training, who are kind of in this, jiu-jitsu community, health community, fitness, to be, take more kind of leadership roles in, the combative community and just in the law enforcement community in general. And I know it's difficult because a lot of people are like, I'm just going to do my thing. I don't want to step up. But there's a lot of very talented, educated police officers out there that, their leadership could really help other officers.
I would say the biggest thing would be to stop asking people to do something that you're not willing to do at a rate, intensity, intentionality far beyond what you're expecting of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I say is the biggest thing. You know, these young talented officers, like you're a young talented officer, you're good at jujitsu, you know how to do your job, you've got a personality, you got a voice. Well, then you need to go and just do this every single day, make it a part of your life, and people are going to pick up on it. And some people are going to attach themselves to it and ride
Hmm.
with you, and then you're going to help influence that person, and then that person can touch another life. That person can affect somebody else's career. That person can affect somebody else here. But if you're not willing to do the hard part, which is getting up in front of people and saying some stuff and
Right.
maybe voicing an opinion or having
Hmm.
a tone of voice or personality that may be abrasive to some people, or to other people, it's, you know, and that's the way my old football coaches used to talk. I like that guy. You know,
Right.
I'm not everybody's flavor, but I'm going to tell people what I think. And more important than what I think is I'm going to show them by doing it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree 100%. And I'm kind of the same way, and when you take that leadership role too and like put yourself out there like we're doing, like I don't have any reason to really put myself out there. It's not like I'm making a ton of money or anything.
Yeah.
I probably spend more money on, half of my little hobbies. My wife's like, "You bought another gi and you're getting more podcast stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's worth it. Don't worry, but
She's
I
like, you
enjoy
study
doing
jujitsu.
it."
Why do you need another gi?
Yeah, exactly. Right, right. Another tournament so you can get tapped out in 30 seconds,
Yep.
like
Yep.
what? Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So, but it's and you kind of make a target of yourself too, but it's, I'm fine with that. You're gonna get the hate coming from either way, but I rather get the hate for, promoting something positive and something good and something that I believe in. And if you don't like it, you know, go on your way. But if you do, the few people that I have had follow me have really enjoyed it and it's changed their life. So I know I'm doing the right thing and I know I'm on the right path too. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a couple guys. There's one guy in particular, and I like doing podcasts because I actually get to tend to plug my homies out sometimes. But
Yeah, absolutely.
Alexander Sanchez, John's gym, and believe he's in Georgia Liberty Hill. He's in Liberty Hill. Um, just got his black belt pretty recent. Cop doing the PJJ thing. He's going to classes. He's going to ShivWorks. He's going to Red Beer Combat. He's doing all the things. He's going to go. He does like Red Zone with Barry Wetzel. He's doing all the classes. Going to Cliff Byerly's gym, school to do some training. He's doing all this stuff. And then he's just like, hey, man, let me know if you are teaching a class. I can come out and I can work with you or shadow you or watch how you teach a class. I'm like, bro, you're such a good coach. You're so good at this.
Right,
He
right.
teaches an awesome edge weapon class for
Yeah,
a C4C that we did in Round Rock, Texas. Like that is the next group of guys. And guess what? He's got a way nicer, more what is it, like amiable personality than
yeah,
I do.
yeah. Right,
He's a lot more friendly, outgoing with his
right. Not
personality
as
than I.
rough around the edges. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I mean, I'm good for a certain type of person, but a guy like that's great for everybody.
right. Yeah, true.
So
Yeah,
like those guys need to be out there. They need to be active. They need to not get jaded and not get where they're like, why am I wasting my time trying to
true.
convince these idiots to come do this stuff? And none of them see the importance. And all I want for them to do is not get killed.
Right. Yeah,
Like, damn, and that's he has that ability to do that and communicate that without sounding like a jerk. When
yeah,
I say it, I get emotional about it because I have friends that I've seen get beat up in that I have to
mm,
go and save, or that I've seen them get into accidents down the road, or we've had them get into shootings where they've done everything right and
yeah,
still nothing go right for them in the shooting. Like, what are we doing, man? We have to care about it. So for me,
yeah,
caring comes across as, ooh, this guy's kind of intense. So we need more types of teachers because I
yeah,
will turn a lot of people off to this.
yeah.
Yeah,
And hopefully they're in the pipeline and coming up, and more people, take the place of, the other, the older officers, and get some new stuff going. I definitely think there will be. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
yeah, and I think Invictus is a great way to do that. To having a big event like this, and then you
Yes.
have all these guys come in, and guess what? You're gonna have that one white belt that's 23 years old that he started doing jujitsu because of
Mhm.
Jocko and Joe Rogan, and he watches the UFC. He decided to be a cop. Dang, he's pretty good. I wrestled a little bit in high school. I used to coach the youth class. Next thing you know, that guy is going to be teaching it in Invictus in 5 years.
Right. Yeah. And that's fantastic.
So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
best. I think that's the message of all that should be the message of all law enforcement training entities and all law enforcement communities like the with the Iron Pigs and the Adopt a Cops and the Seminar Stack, all those things. They all should be like, let's make an army of formidable warriors that are
Yes.
not just physically skilled, but they're able to teach people, and
Yeah.
let's set them loose.
Yeah. And start bringing that standard up, right, for everybody. Absolutely. Yeah. So, absolutely. Much appreciated, sir. Good talking
Yeah,
to you again. So, check out
thank you,
Brad
man.
Barnes with Midland BJJ. He's in West Texas, one of the best in the game. So, good to talk to you again, sir. And absolutely, if you ever need anything up here in Chicago, just let me know, sir.
Well, I'll be seeing you in a few weeks, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, I will see you at the conference. I will
Oh
be there.
yeah.
Look forward to it,
Thank you.
sir. All right.
See you,
Appreciate it.
Bubba.
Thanks.